Again, good morning, students. Now we are going to see about the first chapter, in which the continuation of last sessions, the methods of asexual reproduction in higher plants, that we are going to see now. So already we have seen the session, that is asexual reproduction in lower groups and its types of reproduction. Now we are going to see the methods of asexual reproduction in higher plants. The methods of asexual reproduction in higher plants are vegetative reproductions. There are two types in, that is natural methods and artificial methods. So what is that natural methods? So not natural methods, it's always by producing buds. So the buds may be formed in organs such as root, stem and leaf. Such a root and stem leaves that what we call as units. So the units of reproductive structure used in propagation is called reproductive propagules, or otherwise it is called as diaspores. So here you may ask, sir, what is the exact meaning of the diaspores? Let's see. This is a diaspore is a plant dispersal unit. It's consisting of a seed or spores plus any additional tissues that assist dispersal. In the natural methods, there are three types, that is the vegetative reproduction in root, stem and leaf. Whereas the artificial methods, that is another one type of vegetative reproduction, that is an artificial method. So it is conventional method and modern method. Let us see one by one. So natural vegetative reproduction is in root. How the roots are produced, their progeny. Roots of some plants develop vegetative or adventitious buds on them, through which it produces the produced by the vegetative reproduction is genetically identical. For example, you see the muraya. So muraya, it produces sproutets. So the such sproutets comes out a new plant. So next the dalbergia. So the dalbergia, one of the Fabaceae member. So it produces, see the root portions. This is the stem. This is root portions where it is produce a small plant-like structures. After some periods, it produces roots. After it grows an individual plant. Next, the Millingtonia hortensis. This is also one of the vegetatively reproductive plants by means of roots. Next, vegetative reproduction in roots, for example, Ipomea batatas and Dahlia. Apart from this functions, so the roots, such as stored roots, produces a new plant. For example, Ipomea batatas. See that it is a tuber of Ipomea batatas. So it produces enormous roots and it produces several plant branches are there. So each can be, after separations, each can be produced a new individual. So it's that what we call as the vegetative reproduction in roots. As in Dahlia, you see that here it's the flower of Dahlia. It's a plantlets produced from its tuber. It's a stored fruit where the new plantlet is produced. Then vegetative reproduction in stem. So it is a wide range of methods are there. So first is the rhizome. That is, rhizome is an underground stem. For example, Musa paradisiaca, Gingiber officinals and Curcuma longa. All these are produced by means of rhizomes. And corm, Amorphophallus and Colocasia are produced as an underground stem, that is called corm. All these things we have studied in the previous 11th standard chapters in morphology, vegetative morphology. So we can recall it. So tuber, Solanumtuberosum, bulb, allium cepa and lilium, runner, Centella asiatica, stolon, mentha and fragaria, offset, piscia and acornia, sucker, chrysanthemum, bulbs, dioscorea and agave. The axillary buds from the nodes of rhizome and the eyes of tuber give rise to a new plant. Here, the rhizome, that is the gingiber officinales, it produces their new individuals by means of their axillary buds. When it detached from it, it produces a new plantlet. Whereas in comb, that is the colocasia, this is also a big brownish color, that is sandy looking appearance. So this is the stem where the terminal part produces a terminal buds, where some roots are produced from this stem. So hence it is one of the underground stem. So comb is example for colocasia. These also produced by means of vegetative reproductions. And vegetative reproduction in stem, Solanumtuberosum, it has a eye spot where bud is produced. This bud is after detached from the parent tuber or parent plant, so it produces a new plant. So likewise, the bulb and the naked liliums are produced their progenies by detachment of the stem parts. Then it gives a new plantlet. Next year, vegetative reproduction in stem. For example, all these things are given for examples. You see the first, the runner, that is a Centella asiatica in Tamil, that is what we call as Vallarai. It produces a runner. You see, it's a branch, actually it is a branch from the parent plant. So it produces the branch where the branches have some nodes. When you touch the ground, it produces roots. So it produces a new plant. It grows in separate individuals. So it is a kind of stem method where the vegetative reproductions are there. Next, see the stolon fragaria. There is a difference between the runner and stolon. Because of the runner, the branches grows along the surface, along the ground, whereas in stolon, it escapes from the ground level. So it is making an arch. So it doesn't touch the ground level. So that what we call as stolon. Next, offset, that is Apicea stratificatus. So offset. So offset, it is the same as in the stolon, but it is comes under the aquatic systems. So both individuals. So you see here the offset. It is the branch that what we call as offset. So both have been. It is interconnected the two individuals. After detachment, or it grows and separate individually. This grows also separate individuals. Even if it detaches from its branch itself, it grows individually. Hence, it is the vegetative reproduction in stem. Next is a sucker. Everyone we know that is the chrysanthemum in Tamil, that is Samandipu. So that is sucker. So it produces a underground branch. After some distance, it produces a aerial stem. The underground stem, again, it is produce a new roots. So if it detach it from the parent plant, it grows in separate individual. Next, axillary bulbils. It is the Dioscorea bulbifera. In some plants like the Dioscorea bulbifera, it produces a bulb-like structures which gives a new individual after detached from the parent plant. Next, vegetative reproduction in leaves. Let's see. Epiphyllous buds in Bryophyllum. So it is nothing but the vegetative reproduction by leaves. So the epiphyllous buds in Bryophyllum, see the picture, that is produces a new individuals. These buds, after detached from the parent leaf or parent plant, it produce a separate individual or new individual. Hence, this process is called as a vegetative reproduction by means of leaf, as in begonia, leaf reproductions. So same, it produces leaf buds, these foliar buds which give rise to a new individual after producing the roots. Next, the leaf buds of Scilla species. So this is also produce buds. Those buds again produces a new individual. So now we are going to see what are the advantages of natural vegetative reproduction. Only one parent is required for propagation. If you go for sexual reproduction, it requires the two parents, that is male and female. For the vegetative reproduction requires here only one parent. So next, the new individual plants produced are genetically identical. It's a very important point. Genetically, when we go for genetically identical copies of plant of interest, we have to develop such a genetically identical copies by means of vegetative reproduction only. So in some plants, this enables to spread rapidly, like spinifex. See the spinifex plants, they produce enormous mat like the uh, horizontal manner of development. So it is example for one of the vegetative reproduction. So the spinifex is a plant which produce rapidly by means of vegetative reproductions. Let's see, the horticultural farmers utilize these organs of natural vegetative reproduction for cultivation and to harvest plants in a large scale. You see the pictures, the rhizomes of Musa paradiseca, which the rhizomes develops under just below the ground level. So the underground rhizome which gives a new plantlet, even it attached to the parent plant. So the farmers and the horticulturists tried to cut off this propagules from its parent plant. They planted it in a separate place or separate new place, then it gives a new banana plant. So next, what are the disadvantages of natural vegetative reproductions? So is a new plant produced to have no genetic variations. This is the only disadvantages in the vegetative reproductions. Let's thank you. So first you have to make very thorough in the natural vegetative reproduction in higher plants. As we studied in the lower last sessions, that is the natural reproduction in lower groups like fungi, bryophyta and algae, bacteria. Today we see that is vegetative reproduction that is in higher plants. Thank you.